What we saw is the internet, which was the fastest adoption of technology the world had ever seen. It grew at 76% a year and then slowed down after year 8 to 43% a year. Crypto has been growing at 137% a year. It's now at 516 million users versus 187 million of the internet at the same stage. And then what we did is assume that crypto just slows down its growth to the same as the internet. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll be faster. But it gets by 2025, the end of 2025, we get to 1.1 billion users. So that'll be double the pace that the internet grew. And because this is a network and the tokens are at your participation in the network, they go up a lot. It's as simple as that. It's Metcalfe's law. So when you've got the biggest technological trend of any asset class in all of history, you're going to make a lot of money if that trend continues. This is why it's the biggest macro trend of all time. But it goes on. If we look out further using the internet adoption growth, and we slow down the trend rate of growth of crypto to the same as the internet going forwards, we get to 4 billion users by 2030. That's half the world's population. Now, will this be perfect? It's been pretty perfect so far. I've been showing this chart for 5 years now, but let's assume not. Either way, these numbers are simply staggering. And that's why you get that log chart of Bitcoin over time, because it's the adoption curve is what you're seeing, which is why the sell-offs, even though they sound terrifying, down 75%, are just blips in the overall trend. And over time, it just keeps compounding growth. You see, to show how starkly this compounds growth, this chart of all of the asset markets since 2011, I think is hilarious. So you've got the usual NASDAQ, blah, blah, blah. So we can look, ignore the top three for a second. NASDAQ, 17%, beating the debasement, that 12% number, and compounded 800% since 2011. That's a fucking good investment. What a great investment the NASDAQ's been. Then we go up. Look at the top, Bitcoin. Bitcoin, every 3 years is the worst performing asset. The next 3 years in a row, it's the best performing asset in the world. And even with the drawdowns, those scary drawdowns everybody hates, it's compounded 20 million% returns. Since we started talking about Bitcoin on Real Vision in 2014, it's up 450,000%. Its annualized return is 139%. That's mind-blowing, right? We've never, ever in history been given an asset like this. But when you go out the risk curve a bit, to newer crypto, getting up the risk curve, getting up the adoption curve, well, in 2016, out comes Ethereum. Out of the gate, monster returns, huge drawdowns, compounding returns, 364,000%, annualized at 149%, which is better than Bitcoin. Solana came last cycle, again, came out of the gate, fell 94%. What are the compounded returns? 7,713%, which is 200% a year. Right, so there is no asset class in all of history that's ever performed like this, even with the drawdowns. This is why I keep saying to people, you just want to buy and hold them. And if you can make the right switch amongst the big ones as the next big network gets adoption, you'll make even more compound returns. Right, this is the biggest gift we've ever been given as investors. And it's the biggest macro trade of all time. Let's go back to the risk reward topic. Here's Jurrien Timmer's chart that I've stolen from him, which is on the left is all of the bubbles of risk rewards of assets and how they look. Pretty typical. And this is how asset allocators think about it. But when you add in Bitcoin, you end up with a massive blank page with at the very top right, this fucking alien risk reward, which is Bitcoin. Crypto is a complete alien in terms of performance and risk reward. This chart includes the drawdown of 2022. So you see, again, I keep saying it's a gift, and people still don't really understand what a gift it is. It's something unlike anything we've ever had in history, and it gives us a hell of a chance to make money. So to sum up what the biggest macro trade of all time is, it's crypto going from 2.7 trillion, where we are today, to, let's say, 12 trillion by the end of this cycle, and on to 100 trillion within 10 years. And you've got to understand, this would be the fastest accumulation of an asset class in all recorded history in the shortest period of time. It'll have driven the highest returns of any asset class in all of recorded history in the shortest period of time. In fact, in any period of time. And it will be the fastest accumulation of wealth the world has ever seen in the shorter period of time. If we go and generate 90 odd trillion in wealth in the next 10 years. To put that number in perspective, because we're all getting bored of such big trillion numbers, that is, the S&P 500 is $50 trillion. That is the accumulated worth of all the companies that have succeeded and failed and grown over time, driven by the US economy, over the last 100 years, is 50 trillion. It's double that. And you're going to do it in 10 years.